My name is Wallace Gator Bradley, and I'm the host of the Bradley Report. I'm also the president of United Peace Inc. Well, people, today is Tuesday, June 28th. People are trying to get to the polls. Got an hour. In some places, it's been extended where the polls will close at 8 o'clock p.m. I was blessed along with my cousin and my partner, Jerry Rooks, to be with Governor J.B. Pritzker today, going across the city, checking in, letting people know the importance of voting. We started this morning on 95th Street at the L stop. We end up going over to a school, I believe on 49th and Blackstone. We end up going over to, we stopped at Manny's, right off of Roosevelt Road. And everyone was there in support to get the last push out. A lot of good dignitaries, a lot of friends. But the most important thing to me is this young lady. I know her. She's going through some things, but we all go through some things, but I know her. And in my opinion and belief, she was touched by God because she was able to make all the different candidates that was at 95th Street, regardless if they were supporting the other or whatever it is, have them all come together, inclusive of me, come together for the most important thing, that at the end of the vote, we were all Democrats. And she convinced all of us to get together and take a picture. And I told her this because she's a friend of mine. And I thank God for having her at 95th at the L station at the appropriate time for a purposely focused state of mind. And that is after tonight's return. We got to come together as Democrats to stop the Republicans and their supporters, especially those that have been traumatized. We saw what the Republican Party did up under Trump to the point that 5 people on the Supreme Court erased something that was 50 years old. And that was taking away women's rights to make the choice or the decision what they want to do with their body. Took away their rights, 50 years. And the point of the matter is this. 3 of those Supreme Court justices that was appointed up under Trump with the help of McConnell in the Senate, when one of them, they stole an appointment away from Barack Obama. But they lied during the confirmation hearing. They lied to them senators when they asked them about the Roe versus Wade. And now, conservative Democrats on the Senate and conservative Republicans on the Senate is saying it was hoodwinked And there ought to be some consequences to the tone that they screaming perjury, and maybe grounds to appease them. Your vote is your power, regardless who you vote for. And I'm speaking to African Americans, especially those that say that their vote don't count, but understand this, your vote, regardless who you vote for, is our voices being heard. Regardless, our vote. I want you to hear me. Regardless who you vote for, your vote, my vote, is our voices. And we're going to get on that. We're going to talk about that. And I'm saying all those that came out and voted, thank you. Especially those that came out and voted for Alexis Janulius for Secretary of State and came out and voted for J.B. Pritzker and came out and voted for Tony Preckwinkle and came out and voted for Dietrich Bowman to become Cook County Circuit Court Judge and came out and voted for Marie Van Tyne to be a Circuit Court Judge and came out and voted for Thomas Donnelly to be a Circuit Court Judge. And those in the 1st Congressional District, they came out and they voted for Jonathan to become the Congressman of the 1st Congressional District. For those in the 5th Sub-Circuit, if you came out and you voted for Timothy Wright. And for those in the 9th Sub-Circuit, if you came out and you voted for Sajay Taylor. And those that voted for other judges, I want to say especially you, I want to say thank you. And with that, I want to say this. The attitude that I have today is because of the altitude that my wife have mentally placed me today by saying, Gator, the key to our dilemma is respect, honor, and tolerate everyone's opinion, and you will not have time for an argument. Been with her for 40 years, and I thank God for that. She is the one that helped me put this together, all my shows, and I thank my viewing audience for watching it. She is also the, I got to say director, because she's the one that said, Gator, that's not what you do. I don't argue with her. Maybe because I can't cook. I met her first. But she is also the director of this show, the producer of this show. She's the chairman of United in Peace, Inc. None other than my wife, Gator Bradley. And we have a great woman who's a great lady. And I know her father, but met her father again, because he's a stepper like me, you know what I mean? He's a stepper like me. So I'm watching him record me stepping, and you know, I'm getting my moves in, I'm getting down. And this charming lady, Sylvia, said, Gator, you know my father, and I saw you stepping. And then she got real ashamed when I said, you know your daddy stepped too. But without further ado, we gonna get home. We gonna say to God be the glory. We gonna get on with this story. So Sylvia, let's hit this first piece right here. And I'll thank you.
The unknown is not empty.
Who
It's a
will face
story that
off
crashes and
against Governor
consumes,
J.B. Pritzker
replaces.
in November? The race to determine which Republican will face off against Governor J.B. Pritzker in the fall is heading into its final hours. I'm so glad the Democrats know they got JB. As voters in Illinois head to the polls to cast their ballots today, Aurora Mayor Richard Irvin had been considered the frontrunner in the race for the GOP nomination for governor for months, thanks to the $50 million infusion of campaign cash from billionaire Ken Griffin. Until recent weeks, when the polls showed the Illinois State Senator Darian Bailey, boy, he more conservative than Trump, taking a double-digit lead in the race. Well, I'm of the opinion that the reason that happened is because it came out that everybody was wondering, why did he give this African-American man that used to be a Democrat to say he's going to run for Republican? And I saw the commercials where he used to say he loved J.B. Pritzker. J.B. Pritzker, the greatest guy on earth. This guy was a Democrat. Everybody trying to figure out, how could the conservative Ken Griffin spend all this money? And we're going to get on that. Spend all this money for this man, this African-American man. And you know, they say being ultra-conservative is code word to hide their racist intent. And then it came out that Ken Griffin was able to get $6.5 billion in 1 year because of what the mayor of Aurora helped him do. People are saying that may be the reason that Ken Griffin is leaving the state of Illinois. I don't know. I'm not a Republican. I'm just reading and stating what I'm saying to my viewing audience. Could you go up a little bit more? Let me see if it's No, I'm sorry. Yeah, go up. Let me see if there's anything there. Well, there's nothing else there. I'm just telling everybody, vote. If you haven't voted, vote for JB. Vote for the Democratic ticket. All the way going to November. The Pride Parade was a wonderful thing. I was there and saw all the candidates. I put the pictures up of all the candidates. And it was very special this time around. Because everyone saw how easy it was for their rights to be taken away from them. Everybody stopped for a moment and took a breather. Regardless of the various different alphabets, okay? Regardless about the fact that some of them may not like one another, just like in the African-American community, the light African-Americans don't like the dark African-Americans, the fat ones don't like the skinny ones. Took a breather and saw what had happened to the women. And when they saw what Clarence Thomas have said, that this may be an opening, and I'm paraphrasing, this may be an opening for them to go through there and change the laws about individuals being able to make decisions who they love and who they want to marry. And everybody realized, just like what they did to the women, they can take away our rights to vote. Some people say they can't do that. Well, whoever thought that they would get rid of Roe versus Wade after 50 years? Vote, don't choke. They mad because Mayor Lightfoot said some disparaging words about Clarence Thomas. Well, who happened? After these hearings, I'm seeing where Clarence Thomas' wife was convincing the chief of staff of former President Trump, and she showed up on January 6th, for lack of a better phrase, terrorist attack. And Clarence Thomas then recused himself and cast some votes on the Supreme Court to help try to benefit Trump. It's enough to make anybody cuss. I'm not saying the Pope cuss, but anybody that feel that they're losing their rights, don't cuss. Let them make a decision and say that Catholics aren't the real type of Catholics. Just telling you, we in some hell of a time. Let's go to the next story. The January 6th hearing. Takeaways. Angry Trump. Dire legal warnings and catch. Right? Hit that right there. That little blue button. Right there.
What do we have to eat?
This is the Ukrainian thing that's going to come down and going to talk about the January 6th speech. That war in Ukraine is terrible.
Definitely make it something delicious.
With the irresistibly rich and creamy taste of Hellmann's mayonnaise, you can take otherwise forgotten ingredients.
It's commercial. We're going to get through that.
Dishes. Get inspired by quick and tasty meals that fuel your creativity in the kitchen and help reduce your food waste. Discover recipe hacks at Hellmann's.com. Hellmann's. Make taste, not waste.
January 6th hearing takeaways. Angry Trump, dire legal warnings, and catch-up. Washington. The House January 6th committee held a surprise hearing Tuesday, delivering alarming new testimony about Donald Trump's angry, defiant, and vulgar actions as he ignored repeated warnings against summoning the mob to the Capitol and then refused to intervene to stop the deadly violence as rioters laid siege. Witness Cassidy Hutchinson, a lesser-known former White House aide, rebuffed Trump's teen warnings against testifying and provided first-hand knowledge of what she saw and heard in the run-up to the January 6, 2021 insurrection, a proximity to power that gives stunning new details in the panel's year-long investigation. With calm, detailed recollections, Hutchinson testified that a defiant Trump was told there were guns and other weapons in the rally crowd at the White House, but sent his supporters to the Capitol anyway, and even sought to physically pry the steering wheel from his presidential motorcade driver so he could join them. Trump was clinging to his false claims of voter fraud and refusing to concede the 2020 presidential election to Joe Biden as Congress was preparing to certify the results. Before joining the White House, Hutchinson had worked in some of the most conservative Republican offices on Capitol Hill. She was hired as special assistant to the president and promoted up to Trump's chief of staff Mark Meadows. Here are highlights from the 6th hearing. Angry, defiant, vulgar Trump. Trump was angry and defiant on the morning of January 6th as he assessed the size of the crowd for his Stop the Steal rally in front of the White House, upset that not everyone who had answered his summons to come to Washington could get in to see him because of the security lines. Told that guns, knives, brass knuckles, and other weapons were being confiscated from the security screenings, Trump didn't care. "They're not here to hurt me," the president said. He wanted to take away the magnetometer stations to allow more people inside the grounds, regardless of their weaponry. "Take the effing mags away," An agitated Trump barked at security moments before taking the stage, Hutchinson recalled. White House lawyers worry of crimes. Trump's lawyers at the White House were trying to tamp down the president's speech to the crowd he had summoned for January 6th, and they were trying to stop his plans to go to the Capitol that day when Congress would be certifying the election results for Biden's victory. Hutchinson testified that lawyer Eric Hirschman said it would be foolish to include some of the language the defeated president wanted to add to his speech, comments like fighting for Trump, or him telling the crowd he'll be there with you. Hirschman warned such language shouldn't be included for legal concerns and because of the optics it would portray. That language ultimately stayed in the script as Trump rallied the crowd to fight like hell and promised he would join them at the Capitol. Days before January 6th, White House counsel Pat Cipollone suggested there were serious legal concerns if Trump went to the Capitol with the crowd, Hutchinson recalled. We need to make sure this doesn't happen, she recalled Cipollone saying in the run-up to the rally. The morning of January 6th, Cipollone restated his concerns that if Trump did go to the Capitol to intervene in the certification of the election, we're going to get charged with every crime imaginable. Hutchinson then described what happened after the rally as Trump climbed into the presidential SUV, the Beast, as it is called, as relayed to her later by Trump's Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations, Tony Ornato. Trump, inside the vehicle, tried to pry the steering wheel away from the driver, Bobby Engel, demanding to be taken to the Capitol. Told to take his hand off the wheel, Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge toward Bobby Engel, Hutchinson said, holding her left hand to her throat to indicate what Trump did. Engel was in the room as Ornato relayed the encounter and did not dispute it, she said. Proximity to power and catch-up. The hearing opened with a calm, even-spoken Hutchinson explaining her job responsibilities advising Meadows, often handling his cell phones, as the committee showed an architectural rendering of the layout of the West Wing. Hutchinson's office was situated between the Oval Office on one side and Meadows' office on the other. Hers was also next to that of the Vice President's staff. She had an upfront view of conversations across the offices and beyond. Hutchinson described fielding a desperate phone call as she stood backstage at Trump's rally that day from House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy, who was upset that Trump had sent the crowd to the Capitol when she had promised they would not go. She also told of helping the White House staff mop up ketchup off the walls of the Oval Office dining room after Trump, learning that his Attorney General, William Barr, told the Associated Press there was no fraud on a scale to tip the presidential election, apparently hurled a plate of food at the wall. In one gripping scene, Hutchinson recalled walking Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani out of the White House when he asked if she was excited about the 6th. We're going to the Capitol. It's going to be great. The president's going to be there. He's going to look powerful, she recalled Giuliani saying. When she returned inside and told Meadows of that conversation, he told her a lot was going on. Things might get real bad, Meadows told her, she recalled. Hang Mike Pence, Trump tweets. As the mob laid siege to the Capitol, lawyers and some others at the White House wanted Trump to do something to quell the mounting violence. A makeshift guillotine had been erected on the National Mall, as rioters roamed the halls searching for congressional leaders and taunting Hang Mike Pence. The House and Senate had abruptly halted the proceedings, lawmakers whisked to undisclosed locations for safety. Hutchinson recalled the conversations inside the Oval Office as she brought Meadows a phone call and later as the White House lawyers implored the Chief of Staff to get Trump to act. You heard it, Meadows told Cipollone, she recalled. He thinks Mike deserves it. He doesn't think they're doing anything wrong. Trump then tweeted in the midst of the siege that Pence didn't have the courage to do what he wanted, reject the electors from the battleground states, stopping Biden's election. Hutchinson described the wave of sadness that hit her. As a staffer that works always to represent the administration to the best of my ability to showcase the good things he had done for the country, I remember feeling frustrated, disappointed. I was really sad, she testified. As an American, I was disgusted. It was unpatriotic. It was un-American. We were watching the Capitol building be defaced over a lie. Pardons. 25th Amendment. Hutchinson described the thinking at the White House that day as falling into three groups: those who wanted Trump to take action, others towing line knowing Trump didn't want to call off the rioters, and a deflect and blame group who tried to pin the violence on non-Trump supporters. Meadows, she said, was in the deflect and blame category, but eventually took a more neutral stance. She had recalled how on the eve of January 6th, Meadows wanted to join Giuliani and other Trump allies who had arranged a Willard Hotel war room to fight for his presidency. She advised her boss she didn't think it was appropriate for the White House or its chief of staff to be involved. Those closest to Trump, including his daughter Ivanka Trump and son, Don Jr., were imploring staff to have the president take action to curb the violence, the committee has said. The committee produced evidence that cabinet secretaries were considering invoking the Constitution's 25th Amendment, which has never been used, to remove the president from office. Trump was finally convinced to deliver a speech the next day, trying to calm the nation. But Trump also tried unsuccessfully to add to his speech that those involved would be pardoned by him for their actions to avoid criminal prosecution. Asked if Giuliani was interested in a presidential pardon related to January 6, Hutchinson said he was. And Meadows? Mr. Meadows did seek that pardon, she testified of her former boss. A person familiar with the matter denied that Meadows had ever sought a pardon. We are all in her debt. The January 6th committee was not expected to meet again until July, but called Tuesday's surprise hearing to receive Hutchinson's testimony. Chairman Benny Thompson and Vice Chair Liz Cheney both said it was not easy for the former staffer to come forward, noting that many others have defied the panel's request for information. We are all in her debt, said Cheney, Republican Wyoming. Cheney then laid out in chilling detail the kinds of calls and messages some witnesses have told the committee they received before testifying, implying a potential form of witness tampering. Cheney said is of serious concern. One witness said they were told as long as they continued to be a team player, they could remain in Trump world's good graces. They were reminded that Trump does read transcripts. Another witness received a call from someone who said a person was aware they were having their deposition the next day, and he wants me to let you know he's thinking about you. He knows you're loyal, you're going to do the right thing, said Cheney. I think most Americans know that attempting to influence witnesses to testify untruthfully presents very serious concerns. The panel does not have the power to charge Trump with any crimes, but the Justice Department is closely watching the proceedings as its own investigation intensifies. Trump decried Hutchinson's testimony on social media, saying, "A total phony." Thompson, Democrat Mississippi, said the committee's work will continue, and he encouraged others to step forward. If you heard this testimony today and suddenly remember things you couldn't previously recall, or there are some details you would like to clarify, our doors remain open, he said. Associated Press writers Farna Shamiri, Michael Bolsonaro.
I want you to hear that. For those of you that missed it, and not only it's important that we document what is happening, because this is historical, this is frightening. Witness intimidation is a crime. A lot of things gonna be coming out in July. And all I can say, all them congressmen, I got 1 minute, all them congressmen that asked for pardons because they know they was doing wrong, I ain't got to tell you the names, they told you the names at the last hearing. I want to say this, people. Those that break the law end up in jail. And I'm speaking as a former criminal. Did my time for the crime. And by the grace of God, was able to be pardoned by Governor Bill Thompson. And with that, I want to say to God be the glory. That's my story. Vote, vote, vote. Thank you.